Near the outskirts of Mazar, Taliban fighters who had already agreed to surrender were corralled into cargo container trucks, and they were packed in, one by one, 200 men to a truck. The fighters realized they were not going home as promised, Newsweek reported. Quote, the doors of the container trucks were locked. One survivor, a 28-year-old Pashtun named Abdul, recalled to the magazine that, quote, after nearly 24 hours without water, the prisoners were so desperate with thirst that they began licking the sweat off each other's bodies. Some prisoners began to lose their reason and started biting those around them. By the time they reached the prison, he says only 20 to 30 in his container were alive. A State Department report declassified years later included an estimate that at least 1,500 Taliban prisoners died on the container truck journey.
The facts of the massacre were confirmed to UN investigators within weeks of the discovery of mass graves in early 2002. There were even American special forces who had been detached to General Dustum's unit, the celebrated Horse Soldiers, later depicted in the 2018 Hollywood flick 12 Strong. Would there be an investigation of this massacre? Aside from a flat denial, would there be any look into what American soldiers may have known and when they knew it?
American officials had been reluctant to pursue an investigation because the warlord, General Abdul Rashid Dostum, was on the payroll of the CIA and his militia worked closely with United States Special Forces in 2001.
Describing a high-level meeting to the New York Times years later, an anonymous official said, quote, somebody mentioned Dostum and the story about the containers and the possibility that this was a war crime. And Deputy Pentagon Chief Paul Wolfowitz said, we are not going to be going after him for that. End quote.
Filmmaker Jamie Duran also interviewed then Pentagon advisor Richard Pearl about the administration's decision to ally with a warlord like Dostum.
You have to balance out competing interests. Obviously, we would much rather be aligned with Mother Teresa.